What is up, Bills Mafia? Matt Parrino coming to you from nyupinsyracuse.com with another episode of Bills Talk with Matt Parrino, the new podcast that just launched. And I'm joined today by a very special guest. And this is a guy that when we kind of took off into the offseason, I had kind of earmarked as someone that I wanted to chat with over the course of the offseason because it just so happens where the media stand in the Bills locker room is like right next to this guy's stall. So we spent a lot of time just kind of standing around staring at each other like, hey, it's Tommy Sweeney, tight end, Buffalo Bills. What's up, man?
Hey, how are you, Matt? It's good to see you again. Not in the locker room, though.
Exactly. I try. People ask me all the time, "What's it like covering the Bills?" And I'm always like, "Man, it's great. You spend a lot of time in a locker room with a lot of dudes, just standing around. So it's interesting, but you know." It's such a kind of weird time right now with kind of what's happening in the world, coronavirus and everything like that. You're in between year one and year two, preparing for a very important year, not only for yourself, but for the Buffalo Bills. What's this experience been like with you, quarantine life and everything's going on right now?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. It's been, same as everybody else, kind of quarantining, sheltering in place and stuff like that. Obviously it's big off season, like you said. So I'm just I was able to get a weight set, kind of put it in the garage, been working out in there and kind of getting where I fit in and just keeping rolling and kind of trying to get this thing going. So if we're able to get back here in a couple of weeks, if we are, then just hit the ground running.
What are you doing to pass the time? Because I know for myself, being a dad of two, and as I've gotten into my 30s, video games have kind of taken a back seat. But I will say during this process, I've got very much reacquainted with my Xbox.
Nice. It's impressive. I've done a little bit of that. Yeah, done a little that. I play the guitar too, so I kind of spent some time doing that. And lots of movies and some video games with the boys. Plenty of that.
Very cool. So you've been any combing over of your social media, and fans can tell that you're a big Rolling Stones fan.
Yes.
All right. Tell me a little bit about your musical taste, because I think people get a kick out of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of eclectic, I would say. Like I said, I play the guitar, so it's a lot of stuff that I kind of can play to and kind of play along with. I'm a big fan of Grateful Dead, the Stones, like you said, the Chili Peppers, Led Zeppelin, and tons of Jimi Hendrix, et cetera, more modern stuff too. And it's I just love listening to music and seeing shows, seeing live music played. And Buffalo's obviously been a great town for that. And I was going to go see the Stones in June at the stadium, but unfortunately that's obviously postponed. So hopefully next time they're there, we'll all be able to see them and stuff. But all those types of bands and, not just rock and roll, but plenty of other stuff too.
Have you seen any shows in Buffalo while you've been here?
I've been to – I actually saw Post Malone at the Key Bank. A bunch of the guys went over to that one. That was a good time. That's the only one I've seen so far in Buffalo. There's a couple other people that came last summer, but we were either in camp or it was during our break. So I wasn't able to see it. But that's the only one I've seen so far. But I had planned a couple this summer. So unfortunately, those have been, postponed.
Postponed, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So in the locker room, it's also a very musical environment, to say the least. Quentin Spain usually walking around with his boombox blasting something different. Isaiah McKenzie as well. I don't hear a lot of Stones or a lot of metal in there. So what's your takeaway on the musical choices in the locker room?
Well, last year I was a rookie, so I wasn't saying anything. They let the vets, do their thing in the locker room, and the training room and the strength room. There's some, older, not old, but older music tastes, and so I'll sometimes go in there. That's when there'll be a little more. Diversity, kind of going back to some old-fashioned stuff too, and it's great, because it's been like you said, and all those guys. There's a lot of different music going on, and you can go from the locker room to the training room to the strength, the weight room and stuff, and there's all different stuff going on. So anybody with any type of interest can really find a place in the in the complex.
Very cool. So what was year one like for you? I mean, I thought you took everything in stride really, really well over the course of the season. And a lot of different kind of pitches came your way. I mean, you go back to early on in training camp as you kind of were just trying to get your feet wet. Dawson obviously suffers the injury. You're thrown into a more pronounced role early on. You play early on in the season, then kind of take a backseat when Dawson comes back. And just take me through year one. And, now you've had some time to reflect on it, what you think about it.
Well, thanks for saying that. That's nice of you. Appreciate that. But, it's rookie year, and I was just kind of trying to do everything I could to make myself better and be, part of this team. And like you said, you came in different ways, and whatever capacity it was, I was just trying to be a part of this team. And I'm really thankful. The organization's great, the team is great. All the guys on the team are so great. So I was just happy to do whatever I could, and all I could really do is put your best foot forward when you get your opportunity, whatever that may be. Like you said, whether it's front seat or a back seat kind of thing. And being part of this team, being part of this year was special, and just trying to go out every day, do the best I can, get better at what I do, and be part of this thing, because it's obviously last year was exciting, but that's just kind of the first step.
Mm-hmm. We talked to Brandon and Sean when the season's over, and they talk about the season-ending meetings where they sit down with all you guys and really go over the season. When you're sitting down with those guys and Brian Dable and Rob Boris at the end of year one, what are some of the things that they tell you where, things that you may have done well and things that they want you to work on over the course of the offseason?
Yeah, it's just, it's pretty straightforward. It's kind of, everybody kind of knows what the deal is, and it's just kind of, here's where you're at. Just kind of keep rolling from there. There's nothing that I didn't really know that I just kind of got to work on, specific things, and just improve myself and, kind of fit in a little bit better, whether that be special teams and on offense, and just continue to improve in everything, the tight end, whether that's, pass blocking, run blocking, obviously catching the football, and doing that within our offense and within our team.
The tight end position's interesting because you guys are asked to kind of do so many things, and you kind of have to do so many things well, like as a blocker, as a pass catcher, and, even just being what's that process like, being kind of in tune with two groups? Because we always talk about the position groups and spending all the time, working at your craft. You guys in the tight end room have to be in sync with each other, in sync with the receivers, in sync with the offensive linemen. I mean, that's a lot to juggle.
Right. Yeah, exactly right. It's you got to spread a little bit out. So as cool as it is being able to be part of that, it's also a lot to do, and especially at this level, you got to pass block a lot too. So that throws another kind of element into there. But it's cool. You kind of get to be part of everything. You're kind of the middleman. But kind of the same way the quarterbacks are. It's obviously the quarterback's the top, and then the tight end has the second most amount of at least within different things. So you spend some time with the offensive line one day, and then spend more time with the receivers the other day, and then, kind of incorporate those two and make sure that you're working on both, so you're not kind of lacking in one or, doing better in one or the other, right? You just want to keep it being part of both, and both groups on our team are great, the receiver groups and the offensive line. If we're not there one day and then we're back the next day, they don't hold it against us, and it's great. So it's tough. You got to do both, but it's at the same time, it's pretty cool. And you get to, like you said, get to spend time with both of them.
It's cool for you coming onto the team. We talked about it a few times, to have Matt Milano, a fellow Boston College grad, on the team already, somebody that could kind of, show you the ropes early on. What was the biggest thing that, you had people telling you what the experience was going to be like in your rookie year? What was the biggest thing that maybe surprised you over the course of the year?
Oh, well, like you said, Matt was great. I was able to talk with him right when I got in. And Matt's the best, obviously. We all know and love Matt. He's done a terrific job, and great guy, great family too. And
everybody loves Matt. The girls really love Matt.
Well, it's the name is Matt, right? He's comes with the territory, right?
Well, I don't have that kind of love coming my way. I mean, that guy is he's kind of like a low-key cult icon all of a sudden here in Buffalo. Like, I saw on social media, I don't know if he was that popular at Boston College. Girls love that guy.
Really? I believe it.
Yes.
But that's awesome. Yeah, no, he's I don't know if it was quite to the extent that it is in Buffalo, but, I guess the Florida guy coming up north, you kind of gives him a little extra, what have you in that, you know what I mean?
Got you.
No doubt.
But what was the biggest surprise? Obviously it's like you come in, you're just trying to learn the playbook. You're trying to get used to the process. And not only that, you go from juggling school and football to, okay, it is football 365 every day, trying to improve. Was there anything that stood out that kind of surprised you?
Honestly, the biggest thing that kind of surprised me is how normal it felt. And I don't know if that's just because of the organization and how Coach McDermott and Coach and Brent Bean have established the culture around here. But the transition wasn't anything crazy. I mean, obviously you're professional. So like you said, it's more, dedicated time. You don't have class, and there's not all the, various things of high school and college. But as far as the team concept and playing, it kind of felt the most surprising part was how not surprising it was. You know what I mean? It was pretty, it was like the guys are, the same type of guys, and, everybody likes hanging out in the locker room and, practicing and stuff like that. It's all football guys. So it's really, I think the biggest thing was how normal it was. You kind of think like when you're growing up and you see these guys and, it's like, oh, they almost seem superhuman, but then you get there, then you meet these guys and they're just great guys, normal guys. And it's, it was great to be a part of. So honestly, that was really the biggest thing I noticed was just how, normal it felt. Just, you're on another team now,
Mm-hmm. I talked to Lee a few times, Lee Smith, who obviously a big mentor for you and Dawson and, Tyler and Jason Kroom, and about your work ethic. And I think that is something that's pretty common in the Bills locker room. I think that's the kind of guys that Sean and Brandon, try to bring into the room, guys that are going to work hard, love football. And it also resonates in the community. And I think that Bills fans really just love guys that are coming here, put on their hard hat, get to work. And you kind of embodied that. Is that how you kind of view yourself? Is just like, listen, I'm work first before anything else.
I think that's really all you can be. It's you kind of got to let your work do the talking for you. Just kind of show up every day, keep your mouth shut, and go out and let your play speak for itself. That's how I've been. That's how I was in high school, college. It's a lot of the programs I came from have always been kind of that way. And like you said, it's the culture here. Most of the guys are like that. Buffalo's a town like that, and just kind of everybody just putting their head down, going to work, and going to get results. And I try and be like that. And I appreciate you saying that. Another guy saying that, and it's just that's all I know how to do. So that's I think the way to go.
One thing that I really like talking to guys going in from their first year to their second year about is just how much of a jump you can make, in terms of your game. This year, it's a little bit different because of everything that's going on in the world. And like you said, you had to build the gym in your garage. It's a little bit probably different than what you'd be doing in a normal off season. But do you think that the chance of you improving is much greater in this second off season here because the fact you don't have to go through the whole draft process and it's all about, the team, yourself, what you have to do and kind of getting better for year two?
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly it. Last year was getting ready for Senior Bowl and then the combine and, changing your body, working as you're almost a track athlete and stuff. And then you get here, you don't know the playbook, you don't know the guys. Get through the season, then it's just like you said, now it's all that's aside. I know the playbook, we know the guys. Luckily, everybody's pretty much the whole core is intact, especially coaches too, and know exactly what I have to do and can just work just on exactly that. And I think that's great. And hopefully, I'm working hard at that to hopefully that'll translate into results.
We've been going 15 minutes here, and I can't believe I just noticed this now. The mustache is back in a big way.
Yeah.
And listen, for those of you that don't know, Tommy Sweeney's mustache is a big deal in Western New York. There's a Twitter account that's dedicated to it. I talked to a couple fans this afternoon. I'm doing this Zoom fan appreciation live chat tonight. And I told them I was doing this podcast. And I said, any questions you guys want to ask? One of the first ones was, when is the mustache coming back? So you're gonna have to post a picture on social media with the mustache.
Yeah. Actually, I think I did the other night. So
okay, nice.
It's the quarantine stash is here right now. Kind of went with the beard the whole year, kind of let it come in, because it kind of gets a little itchy here and with the chin strap. So the beard actually, I got used to that. But the stash is back for right now, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Wings are another topic I wanted to hit with you because that's where I think me and you bonded this year.
No doubt.
You sold me on Bar Bill for weeks and weeks and weeks. I've always been a Duff's guy, and I think I always was a little hesitant to go to Bar Bill because I didn't want to admit that there might be another elite in town. And I went, and they were, wow, something special. Wow. Bar Bill's your spot, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of great places. Obviously, Duff's is the classic, and there's some good ones. But Bar Bill, it's a big variety there too. It's hard to compete with them. For sure. Okay, so quarantine life, you're training, getting ready for next season. Where's the excitement level for year two? Because it's like, of course, everything that was accomplished in 2019, Sean and Brandon quick to turn the page on that and say it's all about the future. It's all about this upcoming season. A lot of moves have been made. Stefon Diggs now is in the room. He's a member of this team.
How excited internally as you guys are talking? Josh said that, he's been talking to you guys via Zoom and all those kind of things. How much excitement is there in this team right now for the potential of this team in 2020?
Yeah, we're, it's kind of everybody's talking about it right now, and we're just ready to go. Obviously all the stuff's going on right now, but we kind of know where we're at, and we know last year was just kind of a stepping stone into what we're going for now. We all know what it is, the buzz, whether it's internally or externally. We all know where it's at, and yeah, like you said, we're ready to go. We know what it is, and we're excited. It's just got to go do it now.
You spent a whole season with Josh Allen. You guys in the room know him better than anybody. He's such an interesting guy because he had so much success last season. And I think a lot of his critics, Brandon, have talked about it. Josh has even talked about it at times. To see the kind of jump from year one to year two for him has to be so encouraging. But for you to watch it up close and personal, I mean, how impressed were you with Josh Allen in year one with him?
Yeah, I was, as impressed as I could be. He's good. There's nothing he can't do. He's extremely talented. He's really smart. He knows everything that's going on, and obviously had a great year last year. And he's just, this is just a start.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that much about quarterback play, but I know he can do pretty much everything. And he's just a great guy. He's a great guy to play with. Kind of seeing what he's seeing, because he's always kind of a step ahead. So that's kind of where, as a receiver, you kind of notice it and you're like, wow, okay, so he's really, he's seeing what you're seeing, even though he's got to see the whole field. And it's just, when that's your leader, that's the team, that's, it's exciting. And he's so young, he's, like you said, he's going into year 3, but he's 23, he's almost 24 now. So, there is no ceiling for Josh, and we're so excited. He's the best guy in the world, and, can't wait.
How much do you watch the NFL? Like, growing up, were you a big football fan or?
Yeah, so I'm from New Jersey. Obviously, I grew up a Giants fan, so I was pretty, not a diehard, but pretty, watched a lot of NFL football growing up, and know it was some tough years for Buffalo. There was some good ones, of course, but yeah, I was a solid fan growing up.
Okay, because I think fans always like hearing from the players in terms of the ones that are kind of plugged in, and you guys are all plugged in, but depending on who you talk to, some guys you talk to don't pay attention to the league at all. They don't watch games when they're not playing. But when you're not playing, you watch football. You're a football fan.
Yeah, well, now I don't root for the New Jersey teams, right? But but yeah, no, the game, right? Exactly. Yeah, we'll watch. The Monday night, the guys will get together and watch the Monday night game. If there's a Thursday night game, we'll watch. I definitely try and watch it. See what other guys are doing, and just kind of. We love football. If you love football, you're going to watch. And I'm sure there's something to be said for, just kind of keeping the blinders on and only focusing on yourself. But there's a lot to learn from, seeing other teams being successful or not. And, and I love watching football. So definitely watch college games on Saturday and NFL games on weekend when we're not playing.
So this next one is a 2-part question. Number 1, how important is the continuity that you guys built last year as an offense and the fact that most of the offense is returning intact? And part 2 is, how much is Stefon Diggs going to add to this offense?
It's huge that we're all coming back. It's there's almost nobody's leaving, just a couple. And there's a great group of guys. Obviously Geld was a long year last year. Not a bad year, but it was a long season. Luckily, it was a good thing that was a long season.
Right.
So, it was great, and Coach Dave's back and all the staff, and we really gelled last year. There's a lot of, great guys, great talent, and obviously adding Stefon Diggs just gives it a whole nother facet and just adds another, weapon, which we're so excited for. And I think it's just going to take us that much farther, that next step or two.
Mm-hmm. One guy that you played with at Boston College, A.J. Dillon, I wanted to ask you about him because Bills Mafia, obviously, we'll see how the draft plays out. And you don't know where guys are going to go, but just for somebody that you play with, you're familiar with, what will an NFL team get in A.J. Dillon if they do land him as a running back?
AJ's he's the best. He's a workhorse. He's everything that's been he's exactly what everybody's hyping up. He lives up to it. He's a tremendously hard worker. He's great guy. I was able to play 2 seasons with him, and he does everything. He can catch the football. He can run over anybody. He can run by anybody. So it was great blocking for him in college. and he's a great guy. Comes from, his mom's great, his sister's great, he's a great family. He works his tail off. And
I couldn't believe the speed that for his size. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really, you have to, until you see it, like, it actually is. He's that fast. I remember when he first came in the summer, we didn't, you don't tackle as much during camp because, you want to keep guys healthy and stuff like that.
Right.
So it wasn't really and so we'd see the speed then, but then when you see the power and the speed, once the game started going, it's kind of like, all right, this is the real deal. And then the stiff arm against Louisville his freshman year was kind of the one that he did that, and then he ran away from everybody. It was kind of a good indicator to show the strength and speed combination he's got.
Right. Everybody's gonna be running to Google now to YouTube to find that play.
Yeah.
Just a few more minutes here, and one thing I kind of wanted to dive into a little bit here is the potential of playing in a quarantine season, like where you actually have to go. The NFL's talking about a team would have to be quarantined to play so that the season can continue. First thought on that for me as just an outsider is, because fans kind of talk back and forth, well, people wouldn't want to be quarantined away from their family for 3 months. But like you said earlier in the show, you love football, man. Like whatever gets you to playing football. So where do you land on that? Are you like, hey man, whatever they tell me to do, sign me up. I want to play football. I want to play 2020 season.
Yeah, exactly. And I think most guys are like that. It's our job. It's
right.
Your football player. And, and if you love it as well, it's just an added bonus. And I think pretty much, everybody, whether it's players or, fans, everybody wants the season to happen. So I'm ready to go. And I'm sure, I bet most other guys are too.
When you guys are talking, especially the tight ends, you, Dawson, Tyler, Lee, about your offseason training here in this period, what are some of the setups that everybody's got? I mean, do you guys take pictures of your garages and send them to each other? Be like, oh, check this out.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, especially with the whole team. Lee's got his farm and he's got all his stuff. So he's all set. Dawson and I are kind of scrambling a little bit more. Kind of the young guys trying to get where we fit him. But we've been keeping in contact about that and making sure we're staying after it. And it's been crazy different stuff. Before the weights came in. Bands and running up hills and whatever you can do. And it's been pretty funny, but it's been awesome actually. Yeah.
That's great. So looking back at 2019, what was your favorite? There's a lot of really cool moments from that season. Me, particularly covering the team, I tell fans all the time, people that ask me, that moment in Dallas, to me, as somebody that grew up around the team for 30 years in town before I left and came back, it really stands up as one of the, elite moments on national TV, Thanksgiving Day, the way that you guys kind of went out there and just dominated the Cowboys. That was probably the pinnacle moment of the season, I would say. But for you, when you look back on that year, what was your favorite moment?
That was a great moment. Like I said, obviously going down there on national TV, Thanksgiving was great. I think, a couple of my favorite moments were actually, it wasn't on screen, but after we beat Pittsburgh and actually after we came back from Houston, once we got back from those, everybody talks about Bills Mafia and breaking tables, and it's all true. But then when we get back there, one hand you have, we win, we make the playoffs. The other one, we went home, and just the fans being there at like 2 a.m. in the morning, lining the road, just going nuts both times. Really spoke a lot, and it was those are pretty special moments. We barely even drive through and get out because there's so many people going nuts, and it's pretty cool to see that everybody builds up Bills Mafia, but just how well they backed it up, and we all really appreciated that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, were you expecting the interest level, I guess is the best way to put it, of the fan base when you were arriving here? Did you know that people in this fan base were this dialed in 365? I mean, right now it could be February, March, June, or, playoff weekend. And I feel like the excitement is the same level within Bills Mafia.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like I said, I'd heard, the hype was, you see the videos and everything, and you kind of hear it, but until you come and you really see it. And like you said, like, the off season, how everybody's so excited, and obviously this season how everybody was. It's I mean, you believe it, but then when you see it, it's a whole nother level, and it's just the coolest thing ever. And especially when we got here last year, we were rookies when we first came in, and seeing it, it's different. It's special.
Well, we went about 25 minutes here, 30 minutes. I really appreciate you stopping by for a quick chat via Zoom. Obviously, some technical fun times for everybody here to get this thing started. And I tell people that because it's like, it's so interesting that now in this world, we all have to communicate virtually. And there's so many little snafus that can just like, as opposed to just walking up in the locker room, all these little extra hoops that we have to jump through. So I want to say to you, thank you so much for jumping through those hoops today, because, I think Bills fans, you have a lot to offer, and I had a lot of fun talking to you this season, and I'm looking forward to the 2020.
Yeah, thanks so much, Matt. This was awesome, and hopefully we can get back in the locker room at some point soon and, get back to some normalcy.
Exactly. All right. Thanks, Tommy.
All right, thanks, Matt.